Hi, hello, my name is Robin Lambert, I'm 21 years old and I have cerebral palsy, but you guys know me as the T-Rex and you're watching my T-Rex life. Okay guys, today I wanted to talk to you about something that I have developed to help improve my gait as someone living with cerebral palsy. And that is creating an inner monologue that I say to myself as I'm moving through the world. A list of things that help to remind me of my imbalances, to prompt me to use everything that I have to move around in the most efficient way possible. Now, as someone living with CP, I have significant spasticity in my lower limbs, which does restrict the movements that I can make. But a large portion of why I move through the world the way that I do is because I've developed a habitual pattern that hasn't changed as my body has changed. I've had a lot of surgery to lengthen tendons and muscles, and I've gained a lot in terms of range and flexibility, but my pattern of walking hasn't really changed because I have this habitual knowledge of how I move through the world. So this list helps me to combat that and to move in a way which might be seen as more natural. Now for me, this isn't about the aesthetics. I quite like the way that I walk naturally. It's got a certain energy to it and it's just me, you know? But the way that I move isn't the way that the body is designed to move, and in turn that means that it does damage to my body. So me trying to correct these imbalances and trying to give myself the best alignment and posture that I can have whilst I'm moving is really about minimizing the damage that cerebral palsy does to my body and giving my body longevity, meaning that I can, walk and run and dance and do all of these things until I'm, well into my old age. So what is this internal monologue? What is it that I say to myself? Well, for me, this all started when I was working with Tamar in New York City, which I've done a lot of videos about, which I will link down below. And it started with looking at the way that I move, looking at my posture and my alignment, and where there was imbalances or where there was things, that we could improve. And around that, we created this list of cues to help me combat those things. So for me, some of the things that we noticed is when I was walking, I would seesaw, and I would dip more to the left than I would to the right. Now in a more natural walk, there's a lot more rotation through the torso, and people don't do this seesaw. So we thought, what can we do to combat that? So Tamar said to me, imagine that you have feet on your clavicles and walk with those. So that gave me a little bit more of this rotation, a little bit less of this seesaw. Now the reason we wanted to remove the seesaw is because it puts a lot of pressure on my lower back. And I've had stress fractures and things developing because of that. So that's one of the big things that we wanted to combat. So that was one of the things that I incorporate in my inner monologue. Clavicles, feet in the clavicles, rotating, walking with the shoulders, spiraling out with my arms to prevent this turning in that happens with both my arms and my knees. Another thing that occurs when I walk without thinking, just my natural walk, is that my sternum pops up. Because my hip flexors are tight, so that I don't feel like I'm bending over, my sternum comes up. So Tamar again said to me, imagine you have a can in your core, close that can. And in closing the can and in bringing the pelvic floor underneath me, my sternum dropped. So that's another thing that I say to myself when I'm walking, is sternum down, close the can. Because I have a lot of spasticity in my hamstrings, I wasn't getting much range when I was walking. So in combination with the other techniques that help to loosen off my hamstrings, one of the cues that I gave myself was to unfold the knees. And in unfolding the knees, I use the range that I do have. And, I push what I think I have to, to get that little bit more range. Peeling off the back foot is another thing when I'm walking, which gives me a bit more height to come through and heel strike. So it's all of these little things that I just say to myself over and over again as I'm walking that help me to focus, to move efficiently, to remind me of what I have, what I can use, what I can utilize, and to combat the, the CP busyness of just tight, fold in, contract, contract. So having other messages, a clear signal, a list of things helps to combat all of that. Now you might think that this is very boring or frustrating, just walking around having a little conversation in your head, But for someone with CP, some of you might relate to this, I have a heightened startle reflex. That means that when I'm walking around, especially in a busy place, I'm walking in a state of stress. I'm in a state of fight or flight. Things such as noises, lights, people brushing past me, all cause me to tense up and to, really go into a state of stress. So having this thing that I can think about, this thing that I can focus on, actually makes walking a lot more enjoyable, because I'm able to block out that sort of stimulus in some way and to stay relaxed, to stay calm. It also makes walking a lot less painful, and I get a lot further without getting the aches and pains that I usually do, because, again, I'm walking in a more natural way. And this is not something I do, 24/7 all the time. Of course, if I'm, like running to a meeting or something, I'm trying to just get somewhere fast and I just, move. But when I have the time, when I'm starting to feel a bit tired, these are the things that I'll remind myself of. And, if I catch myself doing something, in particular, then I'll start giving myself a little prompt just to ease my way out of that. And it's also just about, generally being aware. If I'm stood and then all of a sudden I notice that my knee is turned in, I'll make a conscious effort to just sort of slowly pull that into a better alignment. And the more that I can do this throughout the day, really the more energy that I have, the more efficient I am, the more that I can do. So it's really beneficial. So for you guys, if you want to develop this, just, take a look in a mirror of how you walk, how you stand, and give yourself a little list of things, usually, the opposite of what you're doing. So if you're seesawing, give yourself some cues to help you rotate. If you're turning in with your knee, think about spiraling outwards. If your head is bobbing to the left as you walk, maybe think about, to the right, to the right, to the right. And if you have this natural urge to go to the left, it's gonna balance out. So give it a try, guys, and let me know how it works for you. Do you find it beneficial? Does it help you out? Let me know in the comment section down below. But most importantly, guys, remember to stay shiny, because I love ya.